Alrighty, so in this video, I want to prevent the ability of doing this. So I don't want to build a switch from a foundation unless I have built something such as this. So here I want to be able to go, to a wall and all that kind of stuff so I can place it. But when I'm down here, I want it to snap back to a foundation like that. So we have to set that up. So right now we already have a function called cycle mesh. What we could also do is make this pass in an index. Or we could do a separate function and make it, we could pass in an enum and have it set it to that enum and that kind of stuff. So regardless, that's probably not a bad idea. So that way we could we could keep our index and then have a function that triggers back out of it. So what I mean by that is, let's say we have our wall, we look off and it switches to a foundation automatically, but when we look back onto it, it automatically switches back to the wall. So we could set that kind of functionality up if we wanted to with the way I'm kind of thinking about this. So what I want to do is I want to have a dedicated function here. I don't see a need for it to actually be public. So we're just going to make it protected. Didn't really matter. We're going to do void. Let's do set mesh 2. And it's going to take in that enum. So it's going to be the, E build type. Build type. That's going to be the parameter. So we want to find that and set our mesh to match it. So let's create the definition. And we want to iterate through such as this. So we do a for each. So we're going to do for. And it's going to be on our, completely forgot what the array is called, on our building types. So it's going to be of type f building visual type of building types. So f building visual type, we're just going to make it a constant. And by reference, so we're not creating a copy, let's call it building in building types. Everybody at building type. This naming really kind of sucks now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, what we're going to do is f building dot building type equals build type. What we want to do is we want to set the static mesh. So set, let's see, what was the mesh called? Well, actually, better yet, we can just copy this. So build mesh, set static mesh to the type that we want. So what we're going to be setting the static mesh to is going to be building dot building mesh, and then we want to return. And from here, we can also have another function that we call, and that's going to be return to selected. So it's going to be void return mesh to selected. And all this is going to do is literally this. So we want to check these, and that's it. So that's literally all we're doing. We're not going to be altering the building index in any way between these two functions. We are just going to set it to what we want and then reset it back. Now we just have to set this up and call it. So the first thing I want to do, where in the world am I? Here we are, set build position. So if the building is a blocking hit, otherwise I want to make sure we set it to the I can't think of the word. I want to set the mesh to the type, if that makes sense. So we're going to do set build, set mesh to e build type foundation. And we can actually do an optimization improvement here. So we're not iterating through each time on every frame. We can do a check. So if build mesh, and we want to get the index. No, actually, crap, we can't really do that. So that's not gonna work. So never mind. However, it should be light enough to where it's not too big of a deal. We can set up a Boolean later to check that and improve it. But I'm not too worried about performance in the building mode. I'm worried about the performance outside of it. So anyways, we set the mesh to the foundation. So let's go ahead and just see if that works. So let's close down the editor and relaunch. Alrighty, let's hit play. press B. All right, I can switch, press F, and I'm on the, I'm on the wall right now, and when I swipe over, it is still setting it not correctly. So I may have screwed up the logic here. Let's see, set actor hidden in game. Wait a minute. I just confused myself. So if we're blocking, oh, son of a gun, I'm an idiot. I had this set up in the wrong section. So we copy the set mesh 2, and we want to look at this. So if interactable building, else, then we set it to the foundation. Otherwise, we just flat out want to hide it because we do not care. So let's perform our live coding. Give it a try. So right now I'm scrolling and I cannot switch. I press F, I'm up here, and I can switch between. So I go up to a wall and I swipe down. It goes immediately to a foundation. And now I want to have it set up to where we swipe up, it switches back. That way I'm not manually having to do it. So how do we do that? Well, we have set mesh 2. Ultimately, what we can do is set this to the wall again, but we're going to have several of these things. So what we want to do is, if the interactable building, we want to set, what was it? Reset, return mesh 2 selected. That's what it was called. So we're going to call that. And again, we can do some performance improvements on that, but that's not too big of a concern at the moment. So I place that down. I go to the wall. I swipe off, goes to the foundation, I swipe back on, and it goes back right to the wall how I want. So now I can kind of place either. Interesting. So we're going to have to still do some filtering out for this, but not a big deal. But that is working pretty well. So we have that fun stuff done. In the next video, I don't know if I want to touch on the optimization part yet. I'm not too concerned about that. I kind of want to just get everything built up first, because this series is it's kind of getting a little long, or I might work on the filtering. We'll just have to see. Anyways, that's going to be all for this video. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon down in the description below, where I have a team deathmatch series just for Patrons, as well as you get early access to pretty much all of my videos, such as this one. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to join my Discord. That's also linked down below, and I'll try to help you out. So, I'll see you in the next video.